Hello, hello, hello. You are welcome to this wonderful, excellent time on this much awaited topic that we are discussing on today. Today we are talking on a very, a very controversial, we call it something that has been on for such a long time now. It's rape. So the topic is it's wonderful, isn't it? Let me not rush. Let me not rush. And we are waiting to let people in. And we can't really see. Let me try and go to my just to be sure that we are live and that people can join us because technology is advancing and we are advancing as well. We are waiting to see that people can join us. I still cannot see it.
No.
We are waiting to see that people can join us. I still cannot see that we are live and something.
Nope.
I still cannot see that we are live. Let me check, please.
You are live, is there?
Says we are live, but I still cannot
I
see
see it on YouTube.
that we are live.
Connect to YouTube. Alive is there?
Says we are live, but I see. Okay. So I can see that we are live now on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm trying to see the Facebook. I still cannot see it. Hello, if you are there and you can hear us, can any of the participants join us to see that we are live on Facebook?
We're live on Beam TV.
Yeah, we are live on, it should be on Beam TV page and on my personal page, Olayiwola AY Adewumi. Can you try and join? We can't see it.
Nope.
Okay, something definitely is wrong somewhere. Something definitely is wrong somewhere. Hello?
Hiya.
Oh, I still cannot see that we are live. I think it's because we put 8 o'clock. So we have to be here and wait till that 8 o'clock to see that we start at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. So pardon us for it. Technology is advancing.
Well, I think it's live on YouTube.
Yeah, is it live now?
Let me see. Live on YouTube.
We are waiting.
What's the problem?
We are waiting to see that we are live, just to be sure that we are communicating with people.
Yeah, it's live on YouTube.
Yeah, can we have it on?
To see that we are live.
Oh,
Just to be sure
so can
that
you,
we are
let's
communicating with
share
people.
it. So I can't see it myself, but you can.
Have it on to see
So
that we are live. Just to be sure that we are communicating with
the volume down.
I can't see.
So the topic we are discussing on today, on this very first edition of Open Mic, we call it Open Mic because, yeah, everyone can come in, take a mic, and just speak his or her mind on the topic that we are discussing. So anybody that has a link, which we have actually given out to some people, are free to come in and comment on this. Over the years, rape has been, something that has been like a dent to our community, to our society, and much more, especially we Black people. It's at some point it looks like it has become norm for some people. Traditionally, it became accepted so that people treat women just like the way they want, thinking that women are just there for their as a sex gratification, just to do whatever they like with. And so it has so much happened that you find out that people tend much more to support the perpetrators of rape than actually the victims of rape. It has become like a generational thing. Younger ones are taking it, they're taking it even higher than the older one. You find people these days raping and killing. We have actually seen and heard of people being raped and killed, even in the household of God, even by people that we trust, our political leaders, our spiritual leaders, our community leaders. It's like everyone is doing it, and it's high time we rise up and do something about it and talk about it. So the topic today is rape and sexual assault. Rape and sexual assault. And I have with me to discuss here with me today is my lovely, beautiful wife, Adeyinka, who is right beside me, always beside me for this wonderful, wonderful time. And I have got guests in the studio waiting, and they can't wait to come on this show. Today, I've already got Otumba Olagoke Oladosu on the line waiting for us. You are welcome, brother. Very soon we'll be seeing your faces. Layo Remy, Alice Funke Solomon, my beautiful two wonderful sisters. I love you both. And another sheep. Sheep on the right side, sheep on the left side of the women. So they are well protected tonight. So rapists beware. One of them is a boxer, the other one is and yeah, he's another boxer too. He's a wrestler, yeah. So yeah, by the special grace of God, we're going to be bringing them in. Let me bring some of the guests in for today. Okay. And you're welcome to today's show, wonderful people. Can you just wave and say hello one by one to our viewers today? Hello.
Hi.
You can say hi together. Let's can hear you. Yeah. So yeah, I've left your microphones on, and very soon, the floor will be open. But before we go on, I'd like my wife to go on, say something.
You're welcome. This is the fourth edition of Open Mic. And on Open Mic, anything can happen. We discuss anything and everything. So be prepared and watch out for various guests that will be helping us on today's show. As you can see from the very first edition today, we have great power-packed, guests virtually, and they will be helping us today. So please do not go anywhere, because today's show is going to be informative and educative. We want you viewers again to be part of this shows as well. So please help us share this video, because we want to discuss something that is so informative, something that will be liberating people, that will even open people's mind in order for us to know what is available to us, and for us to know how to protect our girls, our young girls, and our women, obviously. And again, some people are saying we are always talking about boys, girls, that it does happen to boys as well. So what we are discussing today is rape and sexual assault. And I believe for the very first, to open the show, it will be very good for us to describe or to explain what rape is. To different people, it means different things. So we will want to ask one of our guests, Alice Funke, can you please explain to us in your own word what is rape?
Well, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for putting this show together. It's actually important for us to have, such discussion. And I think 2020 is a great year. A lot of things are happening, and I think 2020 is a year that has given a lot of us an opportunity to begin to speak on, issues that really matters to us. And one of the reasons is because rape and sexual assault is one of the topics that people don't freely discuss. And so which then means that the perpetrators carry on doing it because they know that people are not confident enough to come out to speak about it boldly. So yeah, in terms of defining rape is a very straightforward thing to define, as a matter of fact, because if we look at the word rape, it actually significantly means that the person is being forcefully penetrated. So when we talk about forceful penetration, we're talking about someone having an intercourse without a prior consent, to do so. And arguably, people would say that men are most likely to engage in rape or sexual assault. And most people also will say that women as well could be perpetrator of such offense. But if we look at the statistics and how rape has actually been perpetrated in the last couple of years, we see that significant number of men are actually engaging in rape offenses. And if we look at the marital context as well, so for example, if you are dating somebody for many years and you actually thought that because I've been with this person, that gives me the license to penetrate the person forcefully, you are committing crime because the person has not given you consent to do so. And even in the marital context, if you have been married and people would think that because, yes, I'm married to her, I have the license and pay the birth price and I have the access to go into her anytime, any day. So rape is a very significant crime. It's a very high offense. And I would see rape to be equal to murder, because if we see someone that has been raped, this person has been damaged, this person has been forcefully, their dignity has been violated, So unfortunately, we've been quiet for so long, but I'm thankful that we are actually speaking up now. People are gaining more confidence to actually deal with the issue of rape, because we've seen it for too long. We've sat on our hands for too long. And so we are beginning to really look into ways that rape can actually be curbed. So in terms of where rape can happen anywhere. Rape has no class. It knows no bounds. It knows no age. It knows no social or economic class at all. So rape can be perpetrated by anybody. So far you are a man and you've got a penis, or provided you are a woman and you've got urge, you've got feelings, you can as well, perpetrate rape against another person. So when we're talking about how rape takes place, I said it could happen anywhere. If you are forcibly penetrating anybody through their genital area, it could be through whatever way that people would have intercourse, you are actually perpetrating and committing a crime. So in other words, rape is rape, rape is a crime.
Thank you very much for your explanation. Now that you've thrown the floor open with that extensive, very detailed definition of what rape is, I'm going to invite, it's always ladies first. So I'm going to throw the floor open to Layoremi Olowo to come in at this point and talk to us. Why? Why is it that, why do women suffer rape?
I think we lost the coordinator.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. I hear you.
I think we lost the coordinator.
Okay, hi everyone. Good evening to Beam TV. Thank you for having me on board. This means a lot to me as a woman, as a mother, as someone who has passion for working with young girls. This really, really, really means a lot to me. So your question now is, why is rape carried out on women? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't tell you that there's a definite answer to why rape is being carried out on young girls or women. There's no excuse for it. There's no reason for it. So there's no, to be honest, it shouldn't happen. However, it does. I think the reason why some men or young boys carry out rape, there's many reasons to it. One, some of these young men or boys might have been abused themselves and, they're only doing what they know. Two, some of them use it as a power kind of thing, to show that I have strength, I have power over you, I can command and do what I want to do at any time and nobody cares. Three, again, it could be, I think, again, it's culture. And I'll tell you why I said it's culture. Fathers, uncles have been doing it and been getting away with it. So young boys too are doing it and thinking it's okay, that's the way it is. It's a norm. So let's get on board and do it. What else? There's so many reasons why, girls and young and women get raped. But really, there should not be any reason at all.
Okay, you mentioned culture, that it's cultural in a way, and that's why I'm going to have to bring, because one of our Yoruba chief is here, and then when you say it's culture, Chief Bafisa, is it right to say that? I'm talking
just call my name.
A veteran broadcaster who is here in the studio with us, Mark Joe Bolahon. So I want you to come on at this minute, because Layo said this thing is more like a culture that has been passed on from one generation to the other. What do you have to say to this?
All right. Thanks, BIM TV, for having me. I was taking some notes, so I want to address. I want to react to some things that was said earlier before I react to the issue of culture. So obviously, there's a rape culture. That doesn't necessarily mean it's directed to a particular geographical, location or a cultural group or people, but there is a habit of rape. It's global. But what I wanted to say in terms of the definition of rape being seen as a forceful penetration, personally, I feel like that explanation is limiting, because rape is way more than forceful penetration. There are situations where people consent to sex and it becomes rape halfway through. Okay? So even if you are intimate with somebody and you have intercourse and maybe you have an agreement, you're going to use condom. And halfway through it, you decide you don't want to use condom anymore. From the moment that person say, no, I don't want this bait, I prefer this bait, it becomes rape at that point. If it started mutually and at the 4th minute, it became like, no, I didn't agree to this, it becomes rape from that point. Or in the case of younger girls, young women who are probably wayward because of their background or because they've been manipulated or they've been groomed. When you have sex with an underage at 15, at 16, say, I'm going to give you 300 pounds to have sex with you. And she agrees. She took her own clothes off. Rape. You don't have to force it. But a younger person cannot consent. Even though she didn't scream, she didn't go to the police. You had sex, she was happy, she was behaving like a professional. It's rape. Otherwise, people like R. Kelly will not be in prison right now. So, let us first of all understand that it doesn't have to be a forceful penetration. It could be consensual as well. Or in a situation where you manipulate people, where you threaten people with their livelihood, without necessarily forcing them. It's like, okay, be playing with your job now. And then it's like, okay, come and do what you want to do. That's rape. So this is one of the reasons why we have a problem in our society. So let me now link it back to the cultural element that we're talking about. Because let me talk about maybe the Yoruba community or the Nigerian community, because we're not talking about just rape, we're talking about sexual assault as well. You see scenarios where people make sexual overtures verbally, constantly, and say, Sister Layo, if I catch you from the bar, you can't say things like that. That's sexual assault. But in our community, try and say that. I've put stuff on Facebook before when people come to me and start laughing their head off and say, Uncle, go and relax. That's to show you the problem that we have. People don't think there's a problem like that, or that you can rape your spouse. People don't think it's possible that you can rape your spouse. How can I rape somebody I've paid a dowry? So there's a big issue here, and that's why the problem is not going away, because the lines are blurred. So I think the first thing is we need to understand what exactly is rape, and of course it differs from society to society, but the issue is we need to upgrade these things to say, okay, at what point do you cross the line? At what point do you say, this is a problem, I need to stop? Those kind of stuff. But I'm not sure if I'm answering your question in terms of the cultural element of it, but rape culture as in general. I mean, Lion said something about some people use it as power. Let's start from the position of urge, especially young men. When you are that age and testosterone is going crazy in your mind, or all these things that we're exposed to on TV, you are exposed to a lot of sexualization, then you want to carry it out. And then you have no girlfriend, you have no wife, you're not married, yet you wake up every morning with an erection. This is why young men do what they do. So find somebody, it's like it's an opportunistic crime. You don't wake up and say, I'm going to go and rape somebody. Not really. It's a case of, and that's why most people try to blame the victim and say it's because of what she wore. You know what I mean? Because they're probably thinking, I'm horny, I need to get laid at some point in my life. Hopefully I can have a girlfriend. I went through teenager. I was a teenager, and I know the pressure that it takes to be a teenager. You walk around, you do all sorts, you watch porn, you read magazines, and then you have stuff going on in your mind.
Chief, you watch porn?
Yes, I did. As a young man.
You are confessing, because most of us do not confess.
It's not even about confession. These are things that happen. This is part of life. This is part of growing up. There's a proverb that says, "Otulo majayarare." If you are not exposed, if you have no knowledge, you will fall victim.
I love that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we Otumba, because we have another Otumba in the house. Now we are going to bring you in.
Thank you very much, Beam TV. Thank you very much, the speakers who have said very valid points, given very valid points and ideas before myself. Yes, looking at the meaning of rape, like Funke has actually rightly defined, Mark has actually defined as well. There's no definite definition. There isn't any straightforward, precise definition as to what rape really means, because rape to an African local could be defined differently from what is seen in this part of the world.
Hello,
rape
Otumba.
To a man
Otumba.
Different from the
because
way
of our
manner at which a woman views it. Rape to a wife is quite different from the way a manner at which a single lady sees it. But what wraps it up is the fact that any act of penetration that is done without the consent of the victim is termed as rape.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It might go in the way of
Otumba. Thank you very much, Otumba.
Through the mouth, through the vagina.
Can you not hear?
I don't think you can hear us.
Yeah, just name it. So,
Ayo, I'm going to bring you in now.
You might need to mute Otumba's mic.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you into this.
Right.
You look beautiful. Don't worry. You look beautiful.
Leave me alone, no, please.
I left you alone now.
Okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
We said something was mentioned about, it being a culture that people actually are doing, and a lot of people are not actually aware that they are doing it. But there is something I've observed over the years. There was this case then of a man of God, whom the wife of a very popular Christian musician accused of having raped her years ago, maybe about 20 years ago. And there was a lot of you know, who la la on the internet. Why is she just talking about it now? Why is she not quiet? Why is she accusing a man of God and all that? But I'm bringing it out not because of I want us to go into that story, because what you know, our Yoruba people say, you know, I don't know how to
What does that mean?
So whatever is hidden is only God that actually knows. But I noticed that people actually shut that woman down. You shouldn't be saying things like that. And your husband allows this and that. A lot of things were said that she should just have kept quiet about it and shouldn't have talked. Do you think the way we victimize, I don't know, the way we shut up rape victims, do you think is right? This stigmatization that we give to them, and because of that, say they shouldn't talk. Is it something that should be done?
You see, this question you've asked me is going to make me pop, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to explode because, I mean, the things I hear when a victim comes out to say how she has been assaulted, whether it was 50 years ago or 2 months ago, the first thing people need to do is to empathize with her, to understand where she's coming from. That's the number one thing people need to do. So when people say, why did it take you that long? I'm like, who the heck are you to speak? Yeah, or people say, oh, I'll tell you this one that I've heard. Oh, it's the plan of the devil trying to destroy the church. I'm like, heck no. The Bible has said when Jesus comes, he's coming back for the church. Because he expects us in the church to know better. I'm sorry, people should not be attacking the victim. Instead, they should look into it to understand exactly what went wrong. Whether the woman is telling the truth or telling a lie, down the line you will find out. But she is the victim. She needs to be supported. She needs to be addressed. Now, if it happens in church and then we sweep it under the carpet, like we did with Pastor Koza, that is why a lot of things are happening now. And people are sorry.
Don't mention names.
Just stick to the question. Stigmatization.
Well, excuse me, you brought me on here to tell
Yeah, but we don't know that.
I have a right to say how I feel.
The case is in court.
Yeah, for me, it's an issue because people are destroying young ladies' lives, young ladies that will be somebody's mother in the future and will start acting crazy to her husband. Her husband will have no clue what's going on. Or she starts to act funny to her children and she will not know how to be the right mother. Yeah, but she will have mental health issues, series of breakdowns. People don't know where all of this has come from. So people need to stop attacking the victim. And it's funny, you know what really actually pisses me off is women that attack the victim. Those women, sometimes I feel like slapping them. I'm like, excuse me, are you not a woman? You hear women saying, she probably liked it. What was she wearing? That has got nothing to do with it. Let me digress a little. Look at what happened to what's this guy's name? This George Floyd. One woman is on social media talking about the crime he has committed. That has got nothing to do with the way he was killed. It's the same thing. Address the issue, not what the woman was wearing, where she was, or what's happening around her. Why did you rape her? It's simple.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Layo. I can see that you're so passionate about this topic, and that is one reason why we brought you. But please, to the rest of our guests, please, we don't want anybody to mention anybody's name, please. I know it's really upsetting and you just want to say it as it is, but please kindly contain your emotions and don't mention people's name. Thank you very much for that. Yes, we live in a world where they stigmatize people, and the stigma is so big that even because of the stigma, a lot of people will not come out to talk about it. And you're so on point on that, Lion. It is us women. I don't understand what is it about women. When it comes to FGM, it's the woman that performs it. as well. When it comes to tribal max, it's the woman that does it. You know,
snatching
even when it comes to snatching other women's husband, it's the woman. So we need to talk to ourselves. We need to tell ourselves the truth. Please, we need to be our brother's keeper. You know, my next question will be, you know, the psychology effect on the victim. Alice, what are the psychology effects on the victim? You know, we know that they go through a lot. You know, when you've been forcefully, you know, have something to do with, how does it affect you psychologically?
So when we talk about traumatic experiences in childhood, especially when the victim is a young person, whatever we go through in life leaves a kind of blueprint in our lives. You know, as we wake up in the morning, go about our activities, everything that we do somehow leave a kind of blueprint and footprint in our lives. And this actually can impact our life very significantly. And especially when somebody has been forcefully raped, it actually has significant effect on that person's life in terms of their psychological effects. It affects their brain functionality, because when someone has been defiled, when somebody has been their dignity has been taken away, it is the most devastating thing that can happen to anybody. Okay, so this person will never remain the same again, because you have actually, you know, changed the mindset of that person. How that person sees herself or himself is totally changed, because you have taken, you know, what makes that person who he is away. Okay, you have affected that person in the core. So it leaves a very significant effect on the person. So when we are talking about the psychological effects, we are talking about range of effect, because it plays out in diverse ways. Talk about, you know, mental health issues, psychological symptoms. You know, some people actually give up on life after they've been raped. If we look at the statistics, a lot of people actually take their own lives, you know, after they've been raped, because they felt worthless. They felt like, you know, they don't deserve to live and they don't deserve to be loved. You know, it can also play out in a way that the person begins to become hyperactive, you know, sexually. You know, some people will just suddenly become so irritated and just become very sexually active because they have been forcefully penetrated. And that actually makes, when we see some girls that are always going about craving for sex or affection, because that's the way we've been wired. You know, God has wired us in a way that we are always seeking affection, we are seeking love. And when you have made this person to be defiled, this person will attach love to violence. You understand? This person cannot actually see what it means to be truly loved. So it leaves the victim with a feeling of worthlessness. They feel that I don't deserve to be loved. Nobody can love me or take me the way that I am, because I have been deformed, I've been defiled, I've been robbed, you know. So this person now carries all those, you know, psychological weight upon their head, and it leaves them with this lingering feeling of guilt. You know, you'll be thinking that, why did it happen to me? Of how many people in the world, why should it be me that will be raped? You see? And that person will now begin to think that, oh, is it because of what I'm wearing? Is it because I'm beautiful? Is it because I am, you know, who I am? And then they begin to doubt, you know, their core. They begin to doubt their personality, their identity. And so when we talk about the effect of rape, I tell you, it is such, you know, a very very weighty effect, because you see a lot of girls that are now becoming lesbian. It's one of those things that actually could lead someone to begin to doubt his sexuality, you know, because if somebody has actually forcefully, you know, defiled the person, you begin to start to look for ways to fill your emptiness, you see. So the person can as well begin to find a way to cope with their pain. You see, because this person will begin to look for, how do I cope? It's not easy to cope with any kind of trauma at all. How much more being sexually, you know, victimized and raped. So the people will now begin to look for ways to cope. And many will now begin to engage in misuse of abuse of substances, substance misuse, alcohol, drugs, and they begin to be exposed to different kind of pornography. Many of them will just feel like, yeah, my life is worthless now, so what then does it take? You know, they begin to sleep with any Tom, Dick, and Harry, whatever comes, you know. And another thing as well that we always forget is that when we talk about rape, okay, any form of intercourse can produce children, can cause pregnancy, okay? And if a person has been raped, it's very, very likely for the person to also get pregnant. And I actually worked with a lady several years ago, whereby she was raped. In fact, she was raped by a trusted person, by someone that she looked up to. We're talking about religious leaders now. And so she actually was sent to live with that person because the family was struggling and the parents could not cope. She lost her dad, and the mother sent her to live with this, you know, in this mission house somewhere. And this child was actually raped in that home, okay? And that actually resulted into pregnancy. And she is a Christian that believes that any child that God gives you is a gift from God. And she was actually at the crossroad whether or not to abort this baby. She actually eventually had that child. But every time she looks at that child, she actually feels, you know, really guilty. She feels like she has brought in a child out of, you know, because she keeps herself, she believes that she has to wait to be married before she can get sex. So every time she sees that child, she attached that child to, you know, a traumatic experience. Okay, so up until the time I knew her, she didn't have a good relationship. She cannot even hold any relationship with anybody. Our relationships are always breaking down. So it has a lot of effects. So when we begin to define how this can actually impact lives of people, it's actually very significant in many ways.
Thank you very much, dearest sister, for that. So what she's trying to say, in a way, you know, from what I can deduce from it, is that it can take years, it can take 20, it can take 30 years, but the psychological effect goes a long way. And most of the time, we find these victims trying to bring a closure to it, which can lead to so many things. So, Otumba Goke, can you hear us properly now? Okay, so I'm going to bring you in briefly for this next question, which is, my question is this. You know, it's common these days, you hear that men get moved by what they see. So it's because of the woman is dressed indecently, and that's why this is going on. Can you hear us? Hello?
I can.
Oh, Otumba,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so
I can hear you.
What I'm trying to bring up from there is this: is that men are moved by what they see. So are we now blaming women for this sexual act because of what the men sees?
Rapists, to my own best knowledge, are criminals. They're devils. They're cowards. They're killers. Just as my other speakers have spoken earlier on. I mean, there's no justification for you raping somebody because of or due to the way she's been dressed. I mean, even if she's naked, even if she's stark naked, it should be none of your business. It should be none of your business. It's not just the manner of dressing or the way of dressing of a lady is not a justification for her to be raped in any manner. It's not at all. It's not justified, and it's unfortunate that this happens mostly in our society, the part of the world where we come from. I read on the news just this morning that two of the lawmakers in one of the countries in Africa actually are blaming the rape cases on the female now, saying they should be dressing more decently because men are not wood, so men are attracted to what they see. And so, I mean, if you think in such manner, then it means you're an animal, you're not human.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to take us to thank you very much for that. I'm going to bring another man in now. Thank God, Otumba. I keep calling you Otumba. Bola, he's been boiling. I think he has so many things to say. So because it's like men are this, men are that. You see, is it because of the? Because I've got two young girls, and every time I think within me, oh my God, may my children not be victims. You understand me? Because it's more than that 5 minutes thing. So I want you to kindly help us, address these men. I know it's hard. You understand me? Because we say, oh, it's what
It's
what they
heartbreaking.
men are moved by what they see, which is true. But is it an excuse, really?
Okay. I think one of the reasons why the issue of rape refuses to go away is because the lines are very blurred. We still refuse to understand it very well. I think we get very emotional. So there is an ideal, most people are idealists, but we also need to be a realist. Okay. So let's talk about dressing. Now, this is not a situation of blaming the victim. It's a situation of trying to have an understanding of the circumstances that lead to problems. You understand what I'm trying to say right now? So look at a scenario where, let's look at Hollywood, like when people dress up for like a red carpet, the men wear a suit.
Bring the women in so that we can see their reactions.
Men wear a suit, or you wear an agbada or whatever. That is you dressed up. You know what I mean? When you want to, as a man, you want to go out really looking good, you put stuff on. But maybe for some of our ladies, it's like less is more, isn't it? When you want to see like, oh, this person is looking hot. When they say, oh, she's looking palm, maybe body parts are exposed. Maybe cleavage, maybe side boobs, maybe legs. Please let us understand, because it takes two to tango. So it's not a case of, women, girls, they are responsible because of what they wear. It's a case of when you are seeing body parts being exposed, people need to realize it's a jungle out there. You need to realize that there are animals out there. So you don't put yourself in a situation that makes things difficult. This is what I'm trying to say. Just a second. So that's why people keep referring back to how people are dressed constantly. Because when let's say you go to a club or something, and even from the way you are sat, people can see everything. That's when people start to act crazy. Now, that is not to say that that is the reason to justify. So when the crime goes down, of course, you have to arrest the person that perpetrates the crime. But the point I'm making is we also need to understand what goes on in the minds of this, I would say, sick people. So that is just to touch it. It's not about saying that is the reason. But please, ladies and gentlemen, let's not come gather. Just a second, please. Just a second. Let's not come and gather. Please. Let us, because this is why this problem does not go away. You said something that you have young children, you have young girls. It's important. I have a daughter as well who is 18. She might as well be 30. Nails popping, eyelashes popping. I am concerned also about the way she's dressed. I'm not going to sit back, watch my daughter leave my house half naked. God forbid something happen and say, it doesn't matter how she's dressed. Of course it matters how she's dressed. That is not to say that the rapist has a license. Just a second, please. That is not to say the rapist has a license to go and attack her because she's dressed that way. But I have a responsibility also to say, please do not show your underwear. Just something drops, you bend down to pick it. We cannot see the color of your underwear. That's a car accident waiting to happen. When we are serious about rape, we will address it on two sides. We will not just say, oh, they are demons. We need to be realistic when we are addressing this issue. Okay. Yes, they are demons, but also we also need to know that there are crazy people out there. You don't put yourself in a situation where you're vulnerable.
There's something circulating out there. I am actually taken aback by the reaction of some people when it comes to talking about how a lady dresses is what actually attracted the rapists to attack them. I've actually seen on the social media where a 4 years old child was raped. So how would you expect a 4-year-old to be dressed?
That's different. This is what I'm trying to say.
When we talk about,
we need a full understanding.
I'm coming.
It's a spectrum.
Okay. Let me just finish. If I can just finish, please. Okay, so when we talk about the issue of, how somebody should dress, no one in the world should determine how anybody should dress. I can decide to show up whatever I want to show off, But it is the responsibility of the parent, like you have rightly said, for you to educate your child not to put themselves in a situation where they could be taken advantage of. We have seen people that are full SU. They actually, like this lady that I was talking about, she's a full, you know, I met her when she was growing up, when she was telling me this story. Even till the time that I met her, she's still very, you know, naive. She's still totally, you know, she doesn't wear makeup. She still wear a full gown. And you would never have expected, you know, an attacker to have attacked somebody like that, dressed in that way.
That's the point I was making. That's the point I was making. It's not one instance.
I would rather say that.
Finish.
I understand absolutely, and I respect your view at the same time. But what I'm trying to pass across is that we can never, ever, you know, put any blame on the victim.
That's not the issue. This is where the problem lies. This is where the problem lies.
It is never.
Let's not blow it.
It is never the fault of the victim.
Wait.
Okay.
Let's not blow it, because this is why this problem is not going away.
No, it will never go away.
Just wait.
I don't think it will go away.
No,
but it will go away when men begins to teach their boys. When men begin to educate and empower their boys to understand how not to be moved by what they see.
Thank you.
Respect.
Can I say something?
No, let me say this.
Can I say something?
We are working with boys, okay? This is my job. I'm very passionate about raising giants, men of God, men, you know, that will become husbands and be able to raise other men in the future. We are seeing a lack of understanding and respect for female out there. Many of our boys do not have no understanding of no. They don't even know how to manage their feelings. They don't even know how to manage their eyes. Even when a girl, they're not boyfriend or girlfriend, just because the girl is talking to them and showing them kindness and love, they automatically just feel that they have license to validate, to invade that girl. So I don't think it's anything to do with dressing at all. No matter what, people wear bikini to the beach, they do not deserve to be raped.
Let me clear my point. Let me land.
Can I say something, my job? Before you land, my job. No. I have to say this.
This is where there's a problem.
There's no problem. No. My job, first and foremost, I understand where you're coming from. But you cannot say what they're wearing, because what you're trying to say is that it's what they're wearing that is attractive.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. You cannot carry on with that. No,
let me say
you cannot say that, because that's not what I said.
And you should not have mentioned what we are wearing. That has got nothing to do with it.
You need to understand what's happening.
I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from.
No, you don't understand where I'm coming from.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because
you will not blanket everything. You cannot
blanket everything. Let me just say something. No.
There's too much passion.
My job, let me say something. I personally,
what's going on?
Oh my gosh, you let me speak.
No, because you're not understanding me. You cannot say what I've not said.
As a woman, I don't like to go out of my house exposing my name and my address.
What?
Yeah, there are a lot of women who do that. There are a lot of women who teach their daughters like that. I don't teach my daughter like that. But having said that, because I don't show my name and address, or because I choose to show my name and address, does not give any stupid man the right to come and violate me. Like Funke said, the men need to teach their sons.
Please don't reiterate what we already know. Do not say what we already know. This is the problem. Everybody is repeating what is obvious. We already said nobody has the right to touch nobody. But we are also given a holistic picture of where we have a problem. Let me say something. Funke, this is for you, because you work in this industry. How many people are walking around with mental health, with learning disability? Just a second. How many people are in their 20s who have autism, mild autism, have no idea of social skills? I've worked in that environment before. People who just look at somebody and they grab them, not realizing that there are lines you don't violate. This thing is complex. It's not black and white. It's gray. Okay? So you guys are talking about one instance. Somebody just rugby tackle a woman and force him. What about relationship in the home where a husband rapes his wife? At what point are we going to talk about that? We're wasting so much passion saying it's not about how I dress. That's not just what I'm saying. There's too much going on out there. So we really need to calm down and understand the bigger picture. Otherwise, 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another case because we're not talking about everything. So this is what I'm saying. Just a second. Just a second. There's this issue with Etu Mohammed that we're going to dwell into. Okay? This is why you realize that even the victim will take some responsibility. Okay? The perpetrator is the criminal. Do everything that you need to do. No excuse whatsoever. But guess what? The victim will also take responsibility. And here's the question. So with the case of Etu or anybody, it was like, I don't know, giving gifts, come to my place, this and that. When you talk about educating your boys, what about educating your girls? Don't go to any man's house. So, of course, you already said nobody has the right to touch you. Nobody has the right to touch you, but a guy came, lured you to a club, then took you back to his own place. At what point are you going to see red light? Like, oh, my mommy said no. So, guys, if we are really going to end this, it's a two-way street. We can't just blame the victims. The victims are, we can't just blame the perpetrators. They already have a problem. And we agree, you prosecute them, you lock them, and throw the keys away. But the victim also, we need to educate. So in a community like ours, where somebody just assumes, maybe I bought you ice cream and I bought you iPhone, you really need to know this person that is giving me gifts. And now ask me to come and say, hey, are you going to meet me at my hotel? That is grooming, isn't it? Because are you going to meet me at my hotel? Grooming. That's grooming. Are you going to meet me at my hotel? Your alarm bell needs to ring. I'm not coming to your hotel, sir.
That's why we need education. We need to have that conversation with our children earlier on in their lives.
Absolutely.
We need to really make our children to understand.
Boys and girls.
Yes, both boys and girls. Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
That's the point I'm making. Exactly. The dressing. So when I talk about my daughter, as an example now, I feel like it's my job as a responsible father.
Mr. Majob, it's not everyone that have that responsible father. It's not everybody that have that responsible father. We need to understand that. That is actually the point I'm trying to pass across to you.
Yeah, but for those who do it in a general way,
the community needs to get involved. The church needs to get involved. Sorry, can I just say something quickly? Yes, it's left to the parents to do something. It's not just the parents. Like Funke said, there's some boys who don't have fathers. What is the church doing? What is the mosque doing? It's up to all of us in the community to raise wonderful adults. So we should leave it only on parents, because not all parents are screwed up right in their head to start with. Some men actually don't know anything. Some women don't know anything. So it's all of us combined together that need to teach our children.
Thank you very much.
And this is why I want to say this. On that note, what Layo just said now, this is what I'm going to say this. We all need to be our brother's keeper. I believe that there are some girls, Matt Job was saying that we need to tell our girls to be decent, not to go to some certain place at some certain, times. And when a guy is grooming you, you need to know what to say no as a girl. I totally understand that, but we need to understand as well that there are some girls that are vulnerable. There are some girls that don't have values for themselves. They don't know, they don't have any confidence in themselves. And as a boy, if you've been raised properly, you should be able to show love. And you showing love is not you forcefully sleeping with her. It's by you covering her nakedness. You telling her, you go and dress up properly. You giving her self-esteem, boosting her esteem and showing her love. And that girl, I tell you, will not dress like that again.
Thank you. Tumba Olagoke has been waving his hand for a long time.
Yeah. I can see the energy in their body. We have not come to talk on to discuss rape on the part of the female alone here, but it seems like we are kind of concentrating on the female child. Literally, we growing up, and I can confirm to this, and it's a deliberate act that we want to talk about the female, about the wife, about the girlfriend, about the housemaid, about what have you, nephew, nieces, and what have you. that are being victims of rape, but we forget to rule in or to identify the fact that male are also victims of rape. You see, while we were growing up, at one point of or one stage of our life, we have had aunties, area aunties, or not even though not blood related, but at some point we have had people that have actually assaulted us sexually. I've experienced this, and a number of my friends have experienced it. Well, we got talking, and they said, "Yeah, the first time he had sex, he had it with one big sister, one big area sister." So, but we in most cases, men don't see it as rape. We don't even see it as assault. We see it as enjoyment. Then while we're younger, we had no clue what it was.
Maybe we should put a caveat there, bro. It's not the enjoyment that you mentioned. I don't think it's for everybody. Some people come out of it with pain and lifelong damages to their psychological setup.
Yes, and that also brings us up to the fact that 60% of victims don't even know they are raped.
Exactly.
See, we've discussed more on the violent side of it. You grabbed her once and you raped her. They met her in a corner and they raped her. What about those that have been raped repeatedly? People like housemates in places like Nigeria, housemates that are raped repeatedly for years and couldn't talk. They don't have a voice.
So how does that one dresses that will warrant the man to go to her? How would a male dress to attract the man to be to attack her?
No,
the man that rapes his wife. His wife that is always wearing boo-boo around the house.
Let's talk about this husband and wife. This is not a wife thing.
You can't make it simplistic.
No,
this is not a wife thing.
Once they pay the diary, they can sleep with you anytime. They don't see it as rape.
Rubbish, that's crap, man.
They don't see it as rape.
That's a very stupid mentality because she's not a piece of me. She's human. I'm sorry. That's why there's a problem in Nigeria because they're not educated. Even the educated ones are still not educated. I'm sorry.
Thank you. This is not how we're going to resolve this problem.
Yeah,
this is not how we're going to resolve it. Because what we need to do is we need to understand first. What we are feeling here is empathy. The same empathy we accuse people of not having is what we are not having. So all day we'll be talking about forceful penetration. In the case of the house help, I think Otumba Adegoke should come back. You will have house help who is even almost happy that Oga is touching her, not realizing she's being raped. She's not complaining, she probably likes it, but guess what? It's rape. We need to start looking at those.
She is disadvantaged.
Do you know why she's enjoying it? You know why? Because she has been raped before she's working in that gas place.
You don't know that.
It's a lifestyle to her.
You don't know that. That's speculation.
It's a lifestyle to her.
That's speculation.
It's okay.
Here's the issue. Let us address what is rape in our community. Because just a second, please. Because every time we try to make it the forceful one, you have no right to touch me. We are missing a trick. There's so much subtle rape going on in homes that we need to address. There's aunties grooming young nephews. There is uncles violating their nieces on a daily basis. They are not forcing them. They are not wearing miniskirts. They are their little nieces. They put them on their lap and then they are touching them. We are
Absolutely. Exactly my point.
We are missing all of that. When we are putting all this energy on dressing, or you have no right to touch me.
Exactly.
On.
My point.
That's what we need to address.
That is actually my point, because
my point is, let us understand first why people behave the way they behave. All right, please allow me this one.
Okay.
An uncle, a 21-year-old uncle, or a 19-year-old uncle, that's probably somebody still growing emotionally. That's not really fully there yet. Sexual urge, and there goes 11-year-old niece, probably just beginning to blossom. It's not like you woke up and going to ruin her life. It's a case of this person also have issues that is dealing with. Once we have that empathy, we understand what's going on. Then we can say, okay, these are the legislations that need to be looked into. And this thing that you can slap somebody, I'm just joking.
Slap them with their bum. Yeah.
Say, sis, more like we start to raise those issues. Then people will start to behave more responsibly. But also, we will not shy away from telling our girls, our sisters, to say, please, so forget the short dress now. Let's talk about even religious community. I've been involved in a case before where a girl was said to have spiritual problem, and they took her to their local Olusho to pray for her, and the Olusho was having sex with her constantly. This girl allowed the Olusho to touch her constantly, you know, and then eventually they fell out, and then she reported that Olusho has been having sex with him for like 4 years old. We need to address all of those. She didn't wear miniskirt. She wore her usual white garment dress.
Exactly. Thank you.
So the point is, at some point, that young girl, she did it to rebel against her mother. She did it to rebel, say, so Olusho is where my problem is, the joke is on you. That conversation has to be holistic. By the time we are up in arms, when we say, let us have some conversation with our own girls, then we are going to miss a big trick. It's for everybody. The perpetrators need their message. Our own children who could be victims, they need their own message.
Yeah. And then the big boys at the top, they need to understand too. Because that's where the problem is.
The big boys at the top they were once small boys. And you know, this argument we've had, and from what we have discussed today, I've come to find out that both men and women, we actually look at these things from two different angles. I was of the opinion, I was 100% supporting what Bola is saying today, because it was exactly the same thing we had argument about before this topic yesterday. I said, look, both have responsibilities, but women being, you know, as fragile as they are, have more responsibilities. Dress well. Don't be where you shouldn't be. I think it's really, really important.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking about dress well. I'm not talking about dress well. I don't think we have a right. I don't think we have a right to tell anybody don't dress this way.
No,
it's just to be aware.
No,
it's just
people just need to understand that women need to be respected. Young girls need to be looked after. You cannot groom a girl, and because you want to mess her future up. No, she can wear what she wants without you having going to define her or mess her up. So we need to educate our boys. Our men need to be educated. Those foolish people sitting at the top with bone heads, they need to be educated as well. The girls also need to be educated, and mothers who leave their daughters with just anybody, their brains need to be checked as well. It's everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We want to say thank you to all our viewers on Facebook. Nicola Taylor, thank you very much for what you're saying. I can't read all your comments because you have a lot here. Betty, thank you very much. Olubukola, thank you. Olubukola is really, really in support of what an old woman of 85 years was raped this week in Ibadan by a 25-year-old. Please, why was she raped?
Imagine an 85-year-old woman.
An 85-year-old woman was raped by a 25-year-old.
That has lived her life, that has suffered. Come on.
Olubukola wants to know.
Please, can I comment on that?
Okay, please.
I think what I've been trying to say all day is we need to understand the psychology behind when people rape. Rape, for me, is an opportunistic crime. People say, chance, that's what happens. That fellow is probably, has issues of self-esteem, issues of like moral decay. You know what I mean? Probably, sexual, like sexual perversion. But bottom line is they saw that old woman as vulnerable, as an opportunity. They just saw, let's take advantage of her. You've had people boggle homes and rape old women. You know that if you have an unhealthy sexual life, you wouldn't do things like that. So most people, hence the argument of don't put yourself in a vulnerable position. So when people are walking around like that, we know that there's violent people out there. They look for who they could prey on. Hence why I would advise the people that are with me to say, please, don't put yourself in a situation where anybody can think you're a soft target and attack you. That is not to say, it's your fault. because of the way you are dressed. No, it's just to say, please be careful. Hence why I was saying to you, that's not what I'm saying. It's not about don't dress this way. No, it's about just be aware that there are crazy people out there and you could be vulnerable. So it's an opportunistic crime. Hence why people will violate their relative. In fact, most crimes are done inside the home. Most is done inside. The ones where you rugby tackle an outsider and rush her in a sharp corner is minimal. The biggest one is the Oga raping the help, uncle raping niece, all that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've got another one from Betty. Betty is saying non-Hollywood culture and Instagram culture as such an influence on our young girls and boys. And I believe Matt Job, mentioned this from the beginning as well. These are the kind of the culture that our children want to, inherit. The way these Hollywood actors and actresses dress, they want to be like that. It's what they see. And that is why it is really, really important to educate our boys and our girls. I don't believe we just have to educate just the girls, because most of the time we focus a lot on the girls. Every time we hear about rape or something, we call our girls and we lecture them. We tell them, don't dress this way, don't go out that way, watch who your friends with. But we don't tell the boys that you need to respect these ladies, you need to honor them, you need to protect them. They are like your sister. You don't want such thing to happen to your sister or your mother. We have to let those boys know as well and let them know why it is wrong to rape anybody. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Yinka, absolutely. Because you have cases where brothers are raping their sisters because they don't know anything, because they've not been taught by their mothers, or maybe they know or they don't know. So really, we have to educate the boys as well as the girls. Everybody needs to be educated, period. Everybody.
And I think the boys, back to what Majob was saying earlier on about an opportunist, again, is because they lack low self-esteem. As a young 25-year-old boy, why will you want to go and rape an 85-year-old woman when you can go and approach a younger girl?
Get married.
There is something not right there.
Absolutely. His brains are upside down.
On both sex, not just the female, and neglect the male part. You understand? Thank you very much. So now I really want us to talk about how best we can protect our women. And when I'm talking about this woman, I'm talking about those, house helps, those wives that are vulnerable, even in the husband's house, that the husband believes that they can just access to them whenever, just because they've paid their dowry. And those girls selling on the street, these girls, again, these are the kind of people that a lot of guys will just touch anyhow, just because they're selling. I'll give him my change and touch their breast, give me my this. And how can we protect these vulnerable ones? Because I see them as being vulnerable.
Anyone with something to...
Okay, first and foremost, let's leave education aside. The law of, I'm going to use the country I know, Nigeria, needs to change. When there's stricter laws in place and people understand that, look, it's not a joke anymore, that will deter foolish people from doing things they shouldn't be doing. The law should not just cover the daughter of somebody or the niece. It should cover every female, be it a 2-year-old or 2-month-old baby, to a 95-year-old woman, so that they understand that any assault on a woman or a girl or a young child, a female, any female that is being assaulted, there's a price to pay for it. So the law needs to protect these people. Before then, we could say, okay, what we're saying to them is making sense, because you can educate a boy and a girl as much as you can. If the law does not back them up, we're just talking, because things will still happen.
Thank you.
So you're saying that we all have a role to play, big roles to play. And, amongst us today, we have people that have ears of the government. All of us, we know 1 or 2 people. We can petition them. We can make, recommendation to our representatives, right from the local government to to the Senate to kind of do something. But the problem over there is this, the truth and the problem is this. You mentioned a country like Nigeria where perhaps the people obey more religious, more religious guidelines and cultural values more than actually what the law says.
And the law.
Yeah, you find that in some areas in Nigeria, some places, a girl of 13, 14 is ready to marry. You understand me? And then you take these laws, you say you want to make a law that protects a girl of 15 years old. You take it to the house. They will not allow it to come to fruition. It will never happen. It will never happen. We need to tell ourselves the truth.
So it might never happen. Either way, they have to be held accountable one way or another.
So I have a suggestion.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so for me personally, because I mean, it's like you took the words out of my mouth. You know, I said something. We could be idealist in terms of this is how things should be done. Anything outside this is unacceptable. We can be that way, or we can be realist and realize what we're dealing with. In a place like Nigeria, legislation should have been what we'll be looking for, but we have senators who are married to 13-year-old children.
Of course.
Exactly.
So where do you start? So that's a problem. But this is much we can do. We can do campaigns, social media campaigns, videos, just creative ways to show. Because when you look at the statistics, like in Nigeria, women and girls are the receiving end the most. We know that there are rape that happens to men, but like Otumba Adegoke said, most men, especially in our culture, where people boast of sexual prowess, may not necessarily refer it as rape. So they might say, that's auntie, even though you were raped. You know what I mean? Now, even if your boss, who is a female, wanted sexual gratification before you can progress, you've been sexually assaulted, but in your mind, So within that community that we come from, we agree that women are most vulnerable. The house help, the needs, all that. So maybe what we need to now do is give our women, first of all, let them know what is rape, because it's not just when they forcefully attack you that is rape. When they touch you just because they are your oga, it's a problem. When they try to coerce you or use threats to make you do what you don't want to do, it's a problem. And so maybe those kind of campaign, just so our young girls know that they have power. Our house helps know that they have power. And then also our madams, who is in the shadow while the house help is being violated, to say, please be vigilant. Those things can make a huge difference, and then maybe find celebrity voices to, because we live in a social media culture now. You don't need TV to do anything. There's lots you can do on Instagram, on Facebook. Let people come forward to say, if they touch you, because if we keep thinking rape is when they grab you and cover your mouth and forcefully penetrate you, we are missing a big mark, because that's not what happens all the time. You saw the case that we're trying to deal with, either the pastor issue that we're not going to mention, or the case of the politician that we're not going to mention. None of those two guys rugby tackled those women in public. They didn't put nets on top of them. They knew them. They visited them. They were friends. They trusted them. So it happens from the place of trust, mostly. So let's go from that place while we are trying to preach to our men to say, please behave yourself. Don't do this. Don't do that. Can we also empower those that might be vulnerable to say, if somebody tries to do this, do this. But if this happens to you, know that you must speak up. Don't feel like, my life is over. Don't feel like it's your fault. Don't say it's because I wore miniskirt. No, it's not because you wore miniskirt. You can speak. And even if it's 10 years ago, don't be afraid. Say something now. Those are the things we need to do. If we do that, people will be empowered, so that, because it takes two to tango. So even if the man refuses to learn or the culture refuses to let them behave, at least you will not be anybody's victim. If somebody tries to do something to you that they're not supposed to do, even if they force their way through, they are going to pay for it because you are going to take the right actions. And then the more we talk about these things, we let people know you cannot be shaming the victim. You cannot be shaming the victim. And I guess that way we'll get closer to it. But as long as we keep remembering, this thing is broad. It happens indoors way more than it happens outdoors. Even in the case of spouses. Right. When a woman, we had an incident where somebody said, I belong to my husband's kitchen. If you can verbalize that your place is your husband's kitchen and it's another room, are you the one that's not going to say my husband raped me?
It's the other
The
room.
problems are closer. The problem is closer to us than we realize.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's where we need to start. That's our starting point.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good,
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much for that. I do really appreciate that comment. You know, I just want to add to what you've said as well. I believe when by the time not just telling people what rape is, but we are elaborating and telling people about the effect of it. Because probably when people know the effect, that the aftermath, that once you've done this thing to this girl, you've actually killed the girl. You just she's like a walking corpse. You know, you let people know what you are doing, the damage that you're doing to such person that you're raping. Probably people will have a better understanding and know that it is not a good thing to be done to anybody, and they wouldn't want to do it.
Well, it's good for us to spread the message that no means no. When a woman says no, we should train our men to accept no as no. It can be difficult, or it's possible. It's achievable.
I believe
I think we should empower. I think we should empower our women to say when they say no, they put their feet down.
And they should mean it. They don't even need to explain. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because you know, well, you can't trust somebody to be responsible. I can't trust you to do the right thing, but I must make sure I'm not your victim. That's where the real power lies. That's where the real power lies. Because even we talk about our society, our politics, where we say, why are they doing this to us? Vote them out. These are the things that we refuse to see. We have the power. So our young women who are always at the receiving end, they need to know they have the power. When I say I said no, it's no. But if you force your way through me, you will pay.
But going off what my jobber said.
Another way to
going off what my jobber said,
One at a time, otherwise I'll throw you out.
Going off what my jobber said, I think some guys also, I can never cite rape, but some guys don't understand when you say no. They think, okay, she's playing. Maybe we have been smiling since you were down for it. All of a sudden you change your mind. So they don't take that seriously. But when we say no, we have to be firm about it so that they understand. And you let them know that, do you understand I have said no, which means I don't consent to this.
Good.
So another way to protect...
To our men out there as well, we have... Go on.
Go on, Funke, let's hear you.
Okay. I was just thinking, actually, as we're speaking, that it is actually very essential for us to start thinking about, how heightened these concerns are. It's a global issue, and I could see it as well as an epidemic, because the way that people are being raped, both boys and girls, is really alarming. Okay, so when we really want to talk about how to protect our boys now and our girls, I think we really need to look at our fundamental human rights. Okay, everybody have the right to live, to be healthy, and to live a fulfilled life. Okay, so if we cannot start educating our boys and our girls to understand their important worth, the worth of themselves, to be able to know how to communicate their feelings to their counterparts, then we cannot solve this problem. So I think the starting point is for us to begin to educate our children while they're very young, to give them the right words to say, to empower them, in personal safety. We at Reflecting Hub, we do offer free workshops for personal training, personal safety, where girls and boys will know how to communicate their feelings effectively. How do you protect yourself, when you are in a situation that could actually, expose you to danger? What are the things that you can do to wiggle your way out? So we need to teach our children. Now, let's forget about the law now. I'm actually talking about what we can begin to do as parents, as community leaders, as organization heads. What we can begin to do really is to educate our boys, especially because we could see that the higher percentage of rape perpetrators are boys. We need to start letting them know that they need to be aware of the laws of the environment that they are in. Many boys are getting cautioned because they are in school and they are touching girls inappropriately, and they don't understand that the consequence of their action can actually impact their lives and also the life of their victims. Okay, so we need to begin to make them to understand that in this environment that you are, these are the laws. These are the do's and don'ts. And if you do not do the right thing, this is how it's going to impact the life of others. So I think that is a starting point. Raising awareness, educating our children while they are young, and leading them to understand that sex offenses is something that can actually deform their life forever. It can be on their on the criminal record for life. And another thing that I'm actually thinking about in terms of the society that we live in, I'm actually not going to talk about Nigeria because it's going to get me really mad. I'm going to really get upset. I don't want to feel that way on this show. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the issue of Nigeria, but I would, implore all our community, our religious leaders, okay, to begin to use their platforms to educate their followers, and not to victimize the people that speaks up that they have been raped or assaulted in any way. We should have, empathy for anyone that comes out to reveal to us that they have been manipulated or influenced or made, to
violated in any way.
Violated, yes, that's the word. We need to give them an opportunity to speak up. Many girls will never speak up of their offenses. They will never speak up of their experience of assault. Never. Because who will believe me? Who will believe her? Who will believe this person? So we need to give people the benefit of doubt to be able to raise their concerns, to be able to express if they have been violated or assaulted. But if we are in a community where people have to hush because they don't want to be stigmatized, they don't want to be marginalized, we are doing ourselves a disservice because the perpetrator will go on doing it because he knows that he would get away with it. So I really want to implore all our religious leaders. It doesn't matter what your religious is, whatever platform you have, as you are teaching them the word of God, teach them the practicality of it as well. Let them know that we will honor and respect the views of anyone that has been victimized or that come up to say that this is my issues. Okay. And another way to also empower our girls. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that before it even gets to rape, probably we should have an environment where our boys can come and tell us about their feelings, because a lot of these things happen because boys don't really express their feelings. When they are having like a crush on a girl or something, we tell them, shut up, you are not supposed to do that.
Go and pray.
Go and pray. When a boy have like a wet dream or something, you will tell them they've been watching pornography or that. But this is development. It starts from there. We have to
absolutely.
An open, conversation with our boys. And
absolutely.
when they know how to manage their emotions, then they'll be able to know how to contain it and to not to express it in an angry manner.
Thank you very much.
Yinka, it starts from the home.
Otumba, I'm going to bring you in.
Okay.
I hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We have to be rounding up now because we should be shutting down in less than 10 minutes.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why do we have to go?
Okay, then if you want us to keep going, we are okay. Honestly, if you want us to keep going, for the sake of educating our people. Right. Otumba, something was mentioned there, which I was actually thinking before my beautiful wife said that. Our religious leaders, I'm not just talking about pastors alone now. I'm talking about imams and church leaders as well, from both sides. They most of the time claim to know everything. They've never been to counseling school, but they are teaching people about marriage. They are talking about sex. They are talking about mental health, and they are claiming that it's the Holy Spirit that downloaded this thing. And I can see that our society. Number one, one of the main problems we have in Nigeria today is actually because of this. The Lord said, the Lord said, the Lord said. Which I'm a Christian, right? And I frown
Yes.
at some things that I see that no, this shouldn't be. I'm not saying the law doesn't speak, but most of the time it is graduate language.
Kajo.
Yeah.
Kajo
So
language.
a boy comes to me, a boy of 12 years old, my son comes to me, Dad, I'm feeling sexual urge. And the next thing I say is go and read Psalm 23. Yeah, those after you in the dream, you are sleeping with mommy water, you are these, those were in the liar is laughing seriously. But those are they happened in the past, really, and we believed it during our time. But these ones are not buying into it. They don't believe it. They actually are very knowledgeable about this. So how do we handle this? How do we handle this? What do you tell a boy of 13 years? Because my wife said, speak out. A boy of 13 years old comes to me. Daddy, when I wake up, this thing is always strong and I find it difficult. What do I do? How do we handle it, please?
We have to be our children's friends. Yeah, we have to be our children's friends to start with. As a dad, you have to be your son's friend, your daughter's friend. As a mom, you have to be your daughter's friend and your son's friend. But I will prefer that the dad sticks more to the son or to the male child, where you'll be able to teach him things as he grows up. You'll be able to teach him the things of life, things he needs to know about life. You know, yeah. I mean, we shouldn't shy away from these things. Sex education, we shouldn't shy away from it. It's just not part of our culture, and in most cases, we miss out a great deal, and it affects our children. It affects the unborn generation as well. It has affected us because our parents didn't bring us up in such manner. Especially we that are Christians or the so-called religious people, you know. And to be factual, the kind of sexual atrocities that is being perpetrated or taking place in so-called places of worship or under the nostril of the so-called men of God, the alphas, the imams, and the pastors, is so alarming. It's so alarming, and they won't tell you the real fact. They won't tell you the truth of the matter. Imagine a pastor who is a marriage counselor who happens to be a rapist as well. So what do you say about such a person? You know, so I mean, what do you say about such a person? You can imagine a so-called imam that's an imam in Akure that is already they didn't let him get away with marrying
Okay, I'm going
12-year girl. Is it 12-year-old girl? Number 8 wife.
Okay, Otumba, we are having problem with your line, so I'm going to move to the another Otumba online too.
Okay.
Can I have Mark Job on this? A boy of 11, 12 comes.
I got the question.
Yeah.
I mean, like my brother said, we need to befriend our children. My observation is most of us, we are reactive. You have to be proactive before it happens. Yeah. The only area where we disagree is we don't have to be sexist about it. It doesn't have to be boy follow boy, mother follow girl. It depends on your nature.
Yeah.
Now, I and my daughter were very close, and we discuss everything, including the issues of boyfriend. And we have sexual education conversation. We started having that conversation when she was 14. She's 18 now, you know, and I'm confident in her. I trust her because we talk about every damn thing. It was very awkward for me the first time that conversation came up. It was awkward, you know, when you cringe. But as soon as I got over it, it's plain sailing. So you really need to be proactive. I'm not going to wait until something funny happens. So I'm thinking ahead because at that point, I used to be a youth worker. And while I work with young boys, I hear their conversation. And I realized, oh my God, my daughter will fall into this category anytime soon. So I started having that chat ASAP to say, you know, if somebody asks you to send photo, don't send photo because your photo is going to end up on the internet. You know, just like joke, but serious conversation. So at the end of the day, as parents, We need to be proactive. But even for those who don't have those kind of homes or whatnot, like we mentioned earlier on, we have charitable organizations. Layo runs one. Funke, is it Funke? Apologies.
Yeah, Funke, yeah.
Yeah, you run one. It's just about us being proactive. So that every time we gather these children, we are not talking about fasting and prayer. I used to be part of a church group, and we had a group of men. We call them men of valor. It was Children's Day. We said we should come up with ideas. I said, let's gather these children together. Let's talk about things that is affecting them. Drugs, sex, alcohol, relationship, violent crime. They said, no, let's organize night vigil with them so that we can pray all night. Of course, I didn't attend because it sounded absolutely annoying. This much I will say to you, that was a long time ago. I ran into one of the young men. Then he was a teenager, then he's a grown man now. So we met and we talked. And he said to me, do you know we had a youth group? Do you know that everybody dated everybody? Do you know that everybody disvirgin each other within that group? The joke was on their parents. The joke was on their dads and their moms, their deacon dads and their sister moms. You know, they felt that their children were safe hanging out together and just doing prayer and worship. They had no clue that they had to have hard conversations with these children. So the joke is on us. I just wanted to put it out there that we need to be proactive. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be cringy. It's going to be uncomfortable. But you need to ask questions in a very subtle way. You have a boyfriend. Don't lie. You know, talk to me though. Honestly, that's all you need to do. Let your children be confident in you that they can talk to you. Then you can say, no, you're too young, girl. You're too young. You can't be having that kind of conversation. No. Don't let anybody touch you here or there. Or don't be doing things like that now. You are too young, your brain is young, and your body is young. You will need to have those conversations. That's what our Igbo counterparts do, you know, that we don't do. And like you rightly observe, we let our pastors do everything. They haven't got the skill set to do this thing. That's why they mess things up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we're coming to the end of today's show. We've talked on everything, haven't we?
We've talked on everything.
Yeah,
but there's a question I really want to. We are not missing something now. We are not missing. But I sent a story out. I don't know. Maybe we've read that story.
Is it the Etu Muhammad?
Yeah,
I just wanted to restrain some caution because we don't know what's happened. It's an allegation so far, so that we are not liable. And you know, this is outside there. This is out there in the public domain. So we don't want somebody to come and sue Beam TV and all of us become accomplices. So it's still in court, or I mean, it's not been charged yet.
No,
those are just allegations. So until it's been proved guilty, before we can really comment on it. But this much I will say, because I alluded to it earlier on, I feel like you cannot rely on somebody to do the right thing. You just need to make sure that you are nobody's victim. Yeah. So what we will need to say right there is, if anybody is nice to you, that's okay. But please be on the lookout. If they are saying something and they are moving in certain ways and you feel like you could be vulnerable, please be alert. That's all. That is not to say they have a right to touch you. It's to say just be alert. And if you were just a nice person and you thought they were decent human beings and they crossed the line, okay. Dust yourself off, but take action. Report them, name them, shame them. And even if it happened 10 years ago and you feel like, oh, I should have done something, you can still do it now. And that's the message out there. Even if you're a married woman in your home, you have children, talk to somebody and say, do you know this happened to me when I was 16? You are now 42. Say something. Name, shame.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Actually, what I wanted us to bring out is what you have said, you know, that we should take responsibility and not just expect the other party to be the one, expect too much from the other party while we are actually walking in, you know, in a path we shouldn't be taking. Don't trust anyone.
Also think
men don't trust anyone. Women don't trust too much as well, because just take responsibility, because that's where it starts from. And finally, I
think Layo wanted.
On that same note, I wanted to say something on that. What's the person's name now?
You don't need to mention
on
just
the allegation, the story that we were talking about, the Muhammad guy. Okay, so we could see that this person has been groomed, because I think he was giving him gifts, or so he was buying him, and giving him gifts. And my parents, when I was, growing up, they always say that if you give somebody £1, they're going to take £10 from you. So which then means that there is no free gift. If anybody, well, we know that there are some good people that would, want to support you, especially when they see people that are, struggling and, they needed some help. But however, most, the higher percentage of people will not give you something for free. They want to get something back, okay? And when you're beginning to see someone that is giving you gifts, buying you phones, giving you, gifts and all of that money, there must be something, that they are expecting of you as well. So, and that's how, grooming starts. We see the perpetrator, they're now, raising their profile now on social media, where they are now going to talk to girls and proliferating their acts in many ways. And then they will start, asking the girls, taking them out for shopping and all of that. So if any girl feels okay to be buying an adult bag, Gucci and all of those bags, when you are only a little child and you do not expect something back from this person to take advantage of you, you are deceiving yourself. And for parents that are seeing their children coming with Louis Vuitton bag, shoes, and they don't query where those gifts are from, they are also accomplices. They're also encouraging their children, to be exposed into that kind of lifestyle. Because if you are someone, if you are struggling, find help, seek help. Let the person know that, yes, this is my help. What do you want in return? We have to have that conversation. If you are helping me, are you doing it because you like me? Are you doing it because you want to sleep with me? Are you doing it because you want to marry me? Okay, we have to have that conversation. Be real, be open. Be open. You can't just be receiving and not give. It's not possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of today's show, but before we leave, I've got 2 questions for each of you. And the question is, 1, what will your best punishment be to a rapist? Don't repeat what the other person have said.
Just one word.
Just one word. And round up by saying, your advice to a victim and to the penetrator as well. Please. Yeah.
Penetrator.
Yeah, for me,
I think castration will be the best. Oh, right, okay.
Right. Castration.
I think so. Castration will be the ideal, because at the moment, any rape perpetrator are triable, on indictment. And that process takes so long, okay? So it's okay to actually imprison the person, because from state to state, it's all different. But I think if you have been found guilty of rape, because it's equal to murder, so I think not only should you go to prison, you should be castrated as well.
Okay. Wow. Go on, Lion. You're next.
Right. Mine is they need to go to prison because I don't subject to them cutting their willies off, because you don't know how that young man started rape. No, honestly, some of them have psychological problems that has led them to do what they're doing. So cutting their willy off is only adding injury.
And they can change as well. I agree.
Yes. So that's that one. To any young girl, woman who has been raped, even if it was 50 years ago, you can still speak up about it now. The more people speak about it now, the better for everyone, because then we begin to work at actually finding a solution. And to the young man or the Baba Adugo or the Oga Patakoda that think you can take that thing in between your pants and hurt young women or girls or women, please stop it. It's very demonic. It's very sick. It doesn't make you a macho man. It doesn't give you any power. It makes you look like a tiny little ant on the floor. And you know what they do? If you end up being incarcerated, well, you're going to taste the same. Well, you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my own side, I think the best
punishment
I would suggest is life imprisonment for whoever's like is a perpetrator, a rapist. should go for life imprisonment, and they should be forgotten in prison anyway. They should
Wow.
And my my own advice will go to the men, the so-called babalaye, the people that are above the law, so-called above the law, that can do it, that can handle anybody anytime and just misbehave and maltreat and rape anybody. Well, me at the raw when I dey talk sometimes. If you must do, Olosho dey town, go carry Olosho to am. You don't.
You call it. Go to a restaurant and look for takeaway.
Go to the restaurant and look for takeaway. If you must do, if you can't hold body. But my best advice is for you to be disciplined. Discipline yourself, hold yourself, and yeah, life goes on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My own. Okay. For me, I feel like the suited punishment for rapists is imprisonment, without a doubt. But I mean, not just imprisonment, but imprisonment and counseling in a situation where, you know, the person, because, you know, this is not black and white, it's gray. So you have people who've raped their girlfriend or somebody they love or somebody they were trying to date, you know, and the person was happy to maybe engage in kissing or whatever. She just didn't want to have intercourse. And they get to that point and then they carry on. It's not like they woke up and say, this girl, I'm going to violate you, I'm going to ruin your life. This is probably somebody they loved. And what have they done? They violated that and they've ruined their life. So somebody like that would need counseling. You don't put that kind of person in prison and throw the keys away. There's conversation to be had. Why did you do what you did? Blah, blah, blah. Did you not realize that this, you know? So for me, imprisonment, obviously you're going to investigate what happened because there's a lot of date rape that people don't talk about. Again, that's my issue in this discourse. We are missing some key areas. A lot of people go on dates and they end up being rape victims by people they actually like, people they actually want to sleep with, just not now. Not now. I'll probably do it next month, not tonight. And the guy said, no, it has to be now. And then you've raped that person. Yet this person really likes you. But guess what? You've raped. So, you know, those areas. So for me, imprisonment, without a doubt, but maybe some counseling. And also in the cases of people with learning disability, people who are autistic, who don't really know, you know, who will just get hold of somebody and start trying to touch them, not realizing you can't behave this way. We have loads of people like that walking our streets that we don't know they have issues. So some empathy, even from the perpetrators, you know, because first people are human beings and there are things that make people behave like crazy people. Things happen to you that mess you up and make you act crazy. So we need to look at that. My advice really will start with the victims or the potential victims. Know that the power is in you. The power is in you. You know, the power is in you. When you say your no, make it emphatic. I said no, say. Don't be afraid of the things that are going to happen as a consequence, you know. But if you find yourself in one of those extreme cases that we said, where somebody just come and target you because you are wearing miniskirts and then they force their way, okay. Just make sure once that happens, you take the necessary action. Don't suffer in silence. Don't blame yourself. Don't say I shouldn't have worn miniskirt. It's my fault. And now, how do I tell my fiancé that I've been raped? He's going to be afraid that I've been violated. I'm not pure anymore. All those things that make women fall victim and affect their emotions. Realize that, first of all, it's not your fault. And so you cannot suffer for something that's not your fault. So you speak up and take action that person has to pay. Even if he's a governor now or a chief or an otumba or somebody, name and shame, you know. And that's it really. And but also an advice for the men. Like my brother said, if you want to do that badly, find people that will consent to you. Or if you are trying to...
And you pay for their service.
And pay. Or if it's somebody that you like, make sure the communication is clear. Don't say they gave you green light. There's no green light. The conversation has to be had, either verbally or non-verbally, but make sure there's consent. Because once there's no consent, there's a problem. And I mentioned something very early. Please permit me. I said even when there's consent, you can still be guilty of rape. If somebody said, wear a condom. And halfway through, you remove a condom. From that point, it becomes a rape. People don't even realize this. You know, so these are things that we really need to look at holistically. I don't know where Nigeria falls in all of this mess, you know, but at least for those that are listening, everybody has a role to play.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Otumba.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Every one of you, we do really appreciate your time and your love. You know, I've been blessed myself, and I believe our viewers have been blessed as well. This is our very first edition. We want to hear it from you. Please write to us, get in contact with us. Let us know what are the topics that you want us to discuss. We want to be doing this like maybe weekly. We'll see. And we want to be whoever guest you want us to bring on so that we can discuss, you know, topics, you know, deeply and to your best knowledge. So please do get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Otumba Oladoshu. I want to thank Bolahon Makjob. I want to thank Alice Funke Solomon. I want to thank Layo Remi Olowu. And I want to say a big thank you to my wife for the support as well. Everyone has worked so hard to make this happen. It just happened that, okay, a few days ago, I just thought, we have the means, we can do this. Why are we keeping quiet? Let's bombard the air. So we are privileged to have you guys here for the first episode of Open Mic. Next week, we're going to be discussing about what is actually going on now. I can't breathe. Wow. I can't wait for that topic. And I might be contacting some of you again, because I can see that we need to really, really trash this issue as it comes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to those of you listening to us from home, those of you that have been messaging us and commenting on the social media, we say a very big thank you. We are sorry we couldn't go through all the comments. We will, you know, fashion out a better system next time to read everything, and so that we can actually bring you in. And if you want to join us, you are free. Contact us. We have the means to bring you in. As long as you have the internet and a phone, you can come on in the studio and join up with us. So we are saying big no to rapists.
Sorry, before we go, I just want to say that if you have been affected, you know, by what we have discussed today, please do not suffer in silence. Get in touch with us. We have a lot of organizations that we can connect you with. You know, if you need medication, probably just happened, or, you know, it's something that has happened and you've never talked about it and you want to talk about it in a very, you know, good atmosphere, very atmosphere that will give you a listening here, you know, somebody that will give you that support, that will give you that confidence, you know, get in touch with us and we will signpost you to the right service or group that will support you. Please do not suffer in silence.
Yeah, we can do that both here in UK and in Nigeria. You will be well supported. Thank you so much, my people. God bless you. And we will see ourselves again very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.